Good day, code fans. This is Bill Stannard from Yes Online Learning at the St. Louis Science Center with another one of our online learning sessions, this one titled PocketCode Lesson Number 2, Pong Ball, in which we explore how to build a simple space-based Pong game. So, let's get going. First thing we're going to do is click on New Project once we have PocketCode open. And we're going to give the project a name, and we're going to call it spacePong. And in the front of that name, let's put down our initials. So I'm going to put BS for Bill Stannard, and I'm going to use an underscore. So the project name is BS spacePong. The first thing I'm going to do is choose which orientation I want, which is the up and down or the portrait. So I'm going to click OK. And I need to add a background. So I'm going to click on background and click on background again. And this time the plus sign is going to take me to my media library where I'm going to pick a nice background for our spacePong game. Once I get there, if I scroll down to my Heroes of the Universe portrait, I'm going to click on the top row middle one. And that's called Desert, and I'm going to leave it that way. And I am now going to click on the back arrow next to background, and I am going to add an object. And the way I know that I'm adding the object in the right place is you can see that the name is BS spacePong up at the top. So I'm going to click on the plus sign, go to the media library, and I am going to look for the Pong paddle. And the Pong paddle is actually a spaceship. So if I go all the way down in the Pocket family, down near the bottom, when I get to all of my lovely Heroes of the Universe, and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to pick the spaceship that looks suspiciously like a hamburger. And instead of calling it UFO, I'm going to click on that name and I'm going to call it Pong. And then click OK. And I'm going to click on Pong. And I'm going to go to scripts, and there are a series of scripts that I want to start. So the first one is going to be when the scene starts, which is under events. And the second one is I want to set the size to 60%. So I'm going to go to looks and set size to 60%. The next one is I want to set the bounce factor for the Pong. Okay, so I'm going to click plus, and bounce factor is in motion, and I'm going to have to scroll down to find the bounce factor. And I'm going to drag it down below the set size to 60, and I'm going to set the bounce factor to 200. And I'm going to click OK. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set the position of the spaceship or the Pong or the paddle by setting Y to -500. So I'm going to go to Motion and set Y, and I'm going to drag it down below the set the bounce factor. I'm going to click on the 200 and set it to -500. I'm going to click OK. And now I'm going to set the motion type to not moving under gravity, but others can bounce off. So again, we'll go in and we'll go to motion and we'll scroll down and we're going to set your motion type. I'm going to scroll that down to under the set Y, and I'm going to click on the little downward facing arrow, and I'm going to set the motion type to not moving under gravity, but others bounce off you, which is the middle one. Okay, and now I need a forever loop. Every single game needs a forever loop. So I click on plus, control, forever. And I'm going to drag it down below the set your motion type. And I'm going to have two things inside of the forever loop. The first one is what I'm going to use to move my pong or my spaceship or my paddle back and forth, left to right. So I'm going to hit plus and motion, and I'm going to set X and Y. So I'm going to do set X, drag it down inside of the forever loop, and I'm going to click on the 100, and I'm going to go in here to functions. Sorry, I'm going to go to properties, not functions. I'm going to go to properties, and I'm going to look for set inclination. And not finding it here, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to sensors, and that's where I'm going to find inclination X. And there's inclination X, and I'm going to multiply it, because I've done this before. I'm going to multiply it by tapping on the multiplication sign, and I'm going to multiply it by -10. And the reason I'm doing that is I want it to go sideways in the direction that I'm tilting my phone. And we don't have to worry about the Y coordinates because we only want it sliding from one side to the other. And if it does get over to one side further than the other, we want it to bounce. So we're going to have to add a final piece here under motion, and we're going to say if on edge, bounce. And I'm going to drag that down and put it inside of there. So there it is. There's Pong, and you can see our code. And you can go ahead and stop the video now if you want to get your code set the right way. And I'm going to go ahead and see what we have as far as the game. So I'm going to press play. And here we go. As I tilt my screen from side to side, the Pong paddle goes from side to side. Okay, well that's the first part of our code. This is Bill Stannard from Yes Online Learning at the St. Louis Science Center with another of our online learning sessions, this one titled PocketCode, Lesson Number 2, spacePong. And we'll have a second part of this lesson in just a moment. So bye for now, and I'll see you in our next lesson. Thanks for watching.